Hello, students, and welcome to another episode of Coach Stroud's What to Read While Quarantined. In this episode, episode 21, instead of talking to you about a book today that I think you should be reading, I want to stop and actually talk to you about some books that I've been in, why I've been in them, and what I want from you. Now, let me start with what I want from you. In this day and age that we're living in, this is kind of craziness going on. I mean, the world's pretty much shut down. We're in quarantine. This is wild. There's very few times this world has actually done things of this nature and at this level. The whole world shutting down just doesn't really happen a whole lot. So I want to let you know right now, students, that you are actually living in a pivotal point of history. Now, this is something that's going to show up in books, history texts later on in life or a few years down the road. And when people talk about that stuff, what are they going to talk about? Well, this is where I want to challenge you. I want to challenge you to write down your thoughts, write down your opinions, write down the things in this life right now that you are going through, that you are experiencing, and piece it together. Put it out there on the internet, put it out in blog form, make a video like this. Do whatever you need to do to express yourself. Let the world know what quarantine or being quarantined is like for you. And the reason why I say this is because when later on in life, when people are writing books about this time, they're going to pull sources of information to compile an official report on things. And when they do, they might pull something from you. Now, this has happened to me on a few different occasions. When I was in Iraq, when I was in the Army, I was a journalist, and when I was in Iraq, I wrote a ton of stories about what our soldiers were doing, battles, humanitarian efforts, things of that nature. And some of the stuff that I wrote about actually got taken and put into books, which is an awesome feeling. For me as a writer, as an educator, it's a huge, huge feeling, and I greatly appreciate it. One of the books is entitled Innovation, Transformation, and War. It is by James A. Russell, and this goes over and talks about the surge that took place in Iraq back from 2006 and 2007 timeframe. I wrote an article about SKTs, or small kill teams, and James A. Russell took a portion of that, used it in his book, and cited me in the back. Just like when you write a paper and you pull information from a book or from the internet, you cite your source. He did the same there, and my name's in that. That's awesome. Knowing that I helped this person write this book, even in the smallest way, it's a nice feeling for me. Another book here is called The Battle for Bouba. It is by First Sergeant Robert Escalaya, retired. And it's interesting because I know this gentleman personally. I'm not close with him by any means, but I did work with him. He used photographs that I took while I was in Iraq. In fact, this one right here, that's my picture. Also in the book, there's other pictures that he used and stuff for his book, which is awesome. He discusses his time in Iraq and his unit, and how they basically fought the major battles for Bouba there. Again, it's nice to know that I was able to contribute to this book in certain ways. The last one here, and the one that is probably the most cool for me, it's a book called Dogs of War. Is by Lisa Rogak. Okay, now this book right here, I've been able to find in bookstores, Barnes and Noble, Books a Million. I've seen it at places like Second and Charles and stuff as well, and it's neat. I got to write a really cool article about bomb sniffing dogs while I was in Iraq, and it was an amazing experience. Lisa here used part of that story in her book here to make a point about something. And again, just like when you reference something in your papers that you write for me, you cite your source. So I've been cited in here, and it's cool. So all three of these books, I have something that I've helped out with. Even though my intention was originally something else, they used it to produce something new, which is fantastic. Now, as an educator and as a teacher, educator, teacher, same thing, but as an educator and a former journalist, I can tell you right now, knowing that other people have used something that I helped create to continue on a story or tell a story is an amazing feeling. It just feels really cool. knowing I can show these to my kids, and that's awesome. They love seeing stuff like this. So I want to encourage you guys to do your own writing. Talk about the pandemic. Talk about what's going on in your life. Write that stuff down, because you never know who might need it, who might need to use it, who might publish it in a certain place, and where you might start showing up in books one day. You never know. I never thought I would be in a book or anything of this nature, and I'm in 3, which is awesome. Again, great feeling, makes me very, very proud. I want you guys to possibly get your information and your story out there. I know I'm sounding like a repetitive robot here because I keep saying it, but again, you guys are living in this wild time right now. And the more information you put out there about your experiences, the more understanding people are going to have. And again, you never know when you might show up in a text or a book or a movie or something along those lines. It's crazy. All right, so get your writing going. Share your story with everybody. All right, guys, I love you and miss you like crazy. I hope you're doing well. And until next time, see ya.